Mr. Bolin or Mr. Flasher planning on coming?
Yes, they both responded that they would be
Okay.
available. Yeah.
I think this is the first time I've been in Ward 7 for one of these.
Mr. Newberry, you all set?
I'm ready to go whenever the chair's ready.
All right. I guess we'll go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome everyone. Should I go? All right. I'd like to welcome everyone to this meeting of the city's Development and Zoning Review Committee. The purpose of this meeting is to provide this party an opportunity to informally introduce the concept of a proposed development to certain key city decision makers and to allow them to ask questions and provide comments. No decisions or recommendations on the proposed development will be made by this committee. Any proposals for development you hear or see today are in a very early conceptual stage of planning, without the city's departments of planning and public works having had the opportunity to review them. Accordingly, discussion of specific details of any proposed development at this time is premature, as they are subject to change prior to the formal submission process. In light of the informal and preliminary nature of the presentation today, the public has been invited to attend via the Zoom webinar platform or streaming live on YouTube and learn about concepts associated with this proposed development in your city, but public comment will not be offered at this time. Any person interested in commenting on the proposal discussed today is encouraged to contact their elected representatives and also take advantage of the numerous opportunities to speak before the Planning and Zoning Commission and the City Council when, if such occurs, the development is formally submitted for the city's consideration. Thank you. Can I get a roll call of commission members, please?
Councilmember Flasher, Councilmember Hopper, Councilmember Brost,
Here.
Mayor Bolin, and Chair Beatty.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
All right. And it looks like Mayor Bolin just came in.
Okay.
All right. Does the Department of Planning have any opening comments?
Yes, Mr. Chair, and thank you again. I have promoted Shane Patton. He is the representative tonight for the petitioner, and so we'll turn it over to him very shortly. First and foremost, I do want to thank all of the committee members for being here tonight. Travis mentioned in the last 30 plus days, we've had 4 development and zoning review committee meetings, so we've been very busy. So thank you very much. As part of the packet of information for tonight's meeting, the department has provided you 2 aerial photographs, what we typically do, the larger and smaller scale versions, so you can kind of get the context of the overall area and then more specifically the subject site itself. We've also included the regulating plan from the town center plan. This particular property is designated downtown district, which does allow for multiple family units with a conditional use permit in association with the underlying zoning, which in this case is an amended mixed-use development district done by St. Louis County. Also, along with that, there's the list of permitted uses as well as the neighborhood design standards for all of the land use classification districts in the town center. Finally, the applicant has provided 6 sheets relative to his presentation tonight, and I'm sure they'll be the focus of his presentation as well. just a couple of quick facts about the site. It's approximately 1.2 acres in size. The existing building, the Jack in the Box fast food restaurant, was constructed in 1999. The building's approximately 2,340 square feet in size, and there are 30 parking spaces on the property. And with that, I'll ask if there are any questions on the part of the committee members. And if there are not, then I would respectfully turn it back over to Mr. Beatty, our chair. Thank you.
Mayor Bolin?
Could we just get, and maybe you said this and I just missed it, the general demarcation of the outer boundaries of this subject site are what? On a street basis?
Yeah. So to the north is Manchester Road, for lack of a better term, Old Manchester Road. And then the other two sides of the triangle are the development Wildwood Crossing, Schnucks Wildwood Crossing. So to the east is the used to be.
So is it the shaded site right in the middle?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and is that the Jack in the Box?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Very welcome.
I did not realize the Jack in the Box was that new. But all right. Mr. Patton, would you like to say a few words about your project?
Yes, and I also have Robert Dieselkamp here with me, just so you guys know.
Okay, great.
Yeah, basically what we're proposing is to tear down the Jack in the Box that's on that site and to build a mixed-use building with the first floor being retail and then 3 floors above that of apartment living. Yeah, thank you. The illustration only shows 2 levels above the retail center. We would propose 3 for a total of 30 units.
Is that all you have? Or
Sorry, we're letting it kind of scroll through so you guys can kind of see as well. Sorry.
okay. All right. That's all right.
The ground floor would be conceptual retail space. As far as, we propose that, we would try to target restaurant uses with, we would hope that the 2 sides, we could leave some open air canopy for some outdoor seating, that the building above would cantilever above to give a covered seating area, trying to blend in the walking and the trail and the bike path as part of the use group. So the site, although, the parking has we believe we're told that it has a shared parking agreement with the Schnucks. So we didn't feel that parking would be an issue, that there would be plenty of parking between the site and the shared parking agreement with Schnucks. As you can see, the bike trail, walking path trail has a crosswalk there at Old Manchester Road, which connects the site to the development right down to the lower left-hand side, the Hatch Crossway. Yes, right there. So really, that's our concept. We would, as part of the concept, as I say, the ground floor would be retail, the upper would be high-end apartment, try to attract the young professional that's not ready to purchase, but, wants to be in the area. And that, which you have that, as I say, the bike trail that connects the other side of town, and just kind of bring that together with this development.
All right. Thank you. Just out of curiosity, do you have any sketches of your proposed building outline and parking diagram for that property yet?
No, we don't have any of the civil stuff yet.
Oh, okay. Are there any other questions or comments from the committee? Mr. Hopper? or Councilman Hopper?
Yeah, a couple questions. I guess the main thing is when you're talking about putting apartments in there, do you have a target monthly rent that you're looking at for those apartments? Obviously, we want to make sure that we're keeping those on the professional end of things. We're talking about
Yes.
those.
So
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, just a point of information here. We don't have our city attorney with us, but I think he is not a fan of us asking that question, even though it has come up before. My apology, Councilmember Hopper, and I'm obviously not the city attorney, but I think, and Mr. Vintage has been through some of these, and I see him shaking his head. So I would respectfully say we probably ought to take a pass on that question.
Okay,
And-
fair enough.
And that's okay.
Thank you.
These are going to be luxury apartments, just if that helps any.
Sure.
Or Mayor Bolin?
Just a couple of things. So first, in no particular order of priority, first of all, I want to thank you for your interest in developing this particular site. I think that it does need something, and I think that conceptually what you're proposing would be better than what is there. That's for sure. Number two, I guess I'll ask this as a question to Joe. Is the property currently within our town center regulating plan zone to accommodate what is being proposed, or would there need to be changes for that to occur?
At the very least, Mr. Mayor, the applicant, the petitioner would need to request a conditional use permit for the multiple family component. The existing site-specific ordinance, which governs the Schnucks Wildwood Crossing Center, would probably accommodate what they're proposing based upon just the discussions we've had prior to tonight and then here tonight as well.
Thank you. So I guess the thing I'm struggling with is what I would call, and I'm sure the city planners such as Mr. Vintage have a more industry specific term for what I'm trying to describe, but the homogeneous nature of that area, we're going to have, so it's going to be, it's almost like this would be an island, you know, a residential island, if you will, in the middle of banks and office buildings and a grocery store, and the 3-story thing would only, you know, I think highlight that fact. So on the one hand, I definitely like this property being developed into something other than what it is, and again, conceptually, kind of what you've got going on, but it seems like it might be a little out of place there.
Okay, we were kind of going for what you would see in the Central West End, the streets of St. Charles, that kind of look, and that's why that whole first floor would be retail, as far as like a restaurant. There's been a yoga studio that has shown interest, something like that.
Yeah, I'm not quibbling at all about the,
Okay.
the commercial part. My concern is the residential overlay on top of it to the tune of 2 or 3 stories. That seems to maybe stick out like a sore thumb there to me. And I don't know if I'm the only one that feels that way, but it just seems like it may not be a fit. But on the other hand, I like, you know, this property being developed. So those are my thoughts. Thanks.
Councilman Hopper?
Yeah, I guess my first question, and then kind of tying a little bit to what Mayor Bolin was saying. Just to clarify, it's going to be the first floor commercial and then 3 additional floors of apartments, right? So total of a 4-story building, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So yeah, I guess that would probably be my major concern, as I share Mayor Bolin's concern of that would be a pretty big building right smack dab in the middle of all that. And I agree, kind of seems like it might be a little out of place in that spot. I'm also a little concerned just based off of the success we've had with other restaurants and close to that area. on developing that into, hopes of another restaurant, given what has happened there in the past. Not that I can gauge the future, but we definitely don't want any more buildings to come in there and then have spots sitting empty.
Agreed, and that's why we were trying to bring in the residential with it, and have more of a community feel, as opposed to just a remote restaurant building. This our vision was something that would be used not only as a place for a dinner, but more of the gathering place, and that the tenants would also use that. So that's why we were incorporating the residential side to it. As you say, there's a lot of unused retail space that sits vacant.
Councilman Brost, I'll come to you in 1 second, but to tag on these, the medical building across the street, that's only 2 floors above ground, isn't it? Am I correct?
Generally speaking, it's a 2-story building. There is that area out toward Route 100 that provides a little underground parking. So it's
Right.
2.5 to 3.
And then, but that also sits at a little bit lower of an elevation, doesn't it?
Yes, this particular site, the Jack in the Box, is almost at the top of the hill crest there.
Right. Yeah, so I definitely see the mayor's concerns about it kind of sticking out. But yeah, I just wanted to get those questions answered. Councilman Brost, your comment?
Yeah, I guess I think I'm in a position where it'd be like nice to have more information. The rendering that was provided, the 2-story, I was like, okay, I think that looks nice. I think the 3-story, that would be a large building. The concept of it, I'll just draw, a comparison that we go to Cincinnati quite often to visit kids and grandkids, and they live in Loveland, Ohio, and there's a very similar retail with apartments over it. And it happens, one of the tenants is our ice cream parlor that we like to go to. So we go there quite often, and the parking lot's always full. So it is in a very busy area, but it from a distance it looks successful, and I know the rents they're getting are attractive. I mean, it's not $700, $800, $900. I think they're $2,000 and above. So, I'd like to learn more about this. But it's difference not always bad. And I totally agree with the mayor that I think it's the current use of the property could certainly be improved. So thank you.
Thank you. And I mean, yeah, on the apartment thing, like it is like me personally being in the middle of the commercial area, that part doesn't bother me, especially because there are more apartments like right there at the intersection of 100 and Manchester. But yeah, I think, yeah, I tend to agree with Councilman Brost. Some more renderings I think would definitely be beneficial. And yeah, 2 stories versus 3 above or 3 versus 4 stories. Tough call. Are there any other comments from the committee?
Mr. Chair, with your permission.
Mm-hmm.
The
Go ahead.
applicants, thank you. The applicants mentioned the parking component, and that when Mr. Lee and I met with them, we did mention, I did mention a possible shared parking agreement between this lot and the larger lot where the Schnucks is located. I have yet to find anything that indicates such. I've gone through the record plats for the project as well as all the site development plans. And there are a number of easements on the property, the largest being a permanent site distance easement relative to Manchester Road and the access into and out of the center. There's also several utility easements, a sign easement, and then finally a traffic signal easement in the vicinity. So parking is going to be an issue, and I haven't found the solution yet. So I just wanted to advise the applicants and you as the committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Bolin?
Well, and in that regard, I'm going to say something somewhat speculative here because I don't know, the details of what has been filed against the land, either as to what the applicant is thinking, or the Jack in the Box property, or as to the Schnucks, what I call the Schnucks Center. However, that said, having been through these things in a different life professionally, advising real estate developers and purchasers and so forth, I'm not certain that Schnucks is going to like, or the owner of the strip center, which my understanding has had some issues through the years attracting tenants, is going to be all that excited about having their view blocked further from the road. And if my assumption on that is correct, the degree of cooperation relative to the owner of that strip center might be small. And I guess let me ask it as a question to the developer. Have you had conversations specifically with the owner of that center about this proposed project and the magnitude of it, and its implications for them? And if so, what are you able to tell us about those conversations?
No, not at this time, since we're such in a preliminary stage.
I would encourage,
go ahead.
I would encourage you to have those sooner rather than later, because that might be something that ends up being a tail that wags the dog.
Okay, I'm actually confident in discussing this with them, because this only brings business to them. You can't see their store from the street anyway. Something's back there, but you're not eyeballing their store.
Right.
It's already blocked by Jack in the Box to date. So yeah, I would welcome a conversation with them.
And I could be wrong, and I hope that I am. Just
Oh no, your point's well taken. I agree that there's going to be something massive in front of them that we need to make look good and benefit that whole area. I agree.
On the subject of parking, have you thought about, like, as far as the residential parking, or would that be surface lot or surface spots, or would there be possible underground parking? Have you thought that far ahead yet?
Yeah, at this time it was surface lots.
Okay.
Per the existing, if I'm not mistaken, the existing zoning, it's one space per unit, being that it's in the downtown district. That's how it's currently zoned. That's, I believe, how we were informed on it.
Is that correct, Mr. Vinich?
Well, the town center neighborhood design standards for this particular category, the downtown just speaks to 3 spaces per 1,000 square feet of commercial space. It doesn't have a specific number for residential. I'll have to do a little further research, but the nearest category would be 1.5 spaces per unit, and that's the neighborhood general. But again, as I say, I've not, as your introduction notes, we haven't given this a very thorough review, and it's something I can look into if we come back and talk about it again. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, personally, I would think one parking spot per bedroom would probably be more appropriate than per unit, but I'm open to, I'm flexible, potentially flexible on that. Councilman Brost?
I know we discussed on these type meetings, having the opportunity to come back a second time. Is that been approved?
It has, sir.
Okay, so could we, I think this might be a good example of a time when we want to have a follow-up meeting. Maybe after the applicant spoke with, Schnucks and the, I guess, the owner of that property, as well as some more details as to parking and renderings. Does that seem like a reasonable path?
Seems reasonable to me. Any other thoughts from the committee?
I have no objection.
Sounds good to me.
All right. All right. In that case, we'll table this until they refine the plans a little bit, and look forward to meeting with you again sometime in the near future. With that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right. Motion by the mayor, second by Councilman Brost. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? All right. We're adjourned. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.